Alright, I'm gonna try drawing one print a day, day 1. For the first print, I wanted to draw something inspired by the star jasmine flower. It grows all around where I live, and I can almost promise you that you are going to smell this flower before you even see it. It is extremely aromatic. The flower itself is quite small, and it has 8 petals. I kind of like to think of it as nature's sparkle. I'm not sure if that's because it looks like a sparkle, or if just because my brain naturally tries to turn everything into a sparkle. One time I was in this fancy restaurant in Paris, and it was late May and it was very warm outside, and they had the door to the restaurant open, allowing the air to come in from outside, and there was this enormous wall of star jasmine that you could smell all through the restaurant like someone was spraying perfume everywhere. Although I don't think I've ever actually seen star jasmine perfume, but if you have, let me know the brand. As with all of my prints, they will be available in my shop as fabric and home decor. If you happen to purchase one of the fabrics, please tag me and let me know. I would love to see what you did with it. Drawing one print a day, day 2. Today's print is inspired by the cornflower, so I will be making my own brush in Procreate. It's pretty easy to do. You basically just draw a black and white image, save it as a PNG into your device, and then you create a new brush and import that image as the shape for that new brush, and then you can adjust the settings to make it look however you want. My first time using custom brushes in Procreate, but it is very easy and intuitive to do. I'm very impressed with this program. I always start by creating a custom palette, and in this case, because this is centered around the cornflower, that I want the colors to coordinate with the blue that is the flower itself. Yesterday's print used a lot of green, so I wanted to avoid green in my colors today. My new stamp brush makes it very easy to put a whole bunch of flowers all over the print, and then we're going to add a few accent shimmers, a little bit of a flourish here and there, and that's pretty much the whole print. This art is now available as fabric and home decor in my shop link. If you do purchase one of them, please tag me and let me know. I would love to see how you styled it. Tune in tomorrow for a new print. I'm drawing one print a day, day 3. A friend of mine requested something with mermaid and beach inspiration, so I am going to start this print by making 2 custom shell brushes. For some reason, whenever I go to the ocean, I always find myself looking for shells. I usually pick up 1 or 2, put them in my pocket, and then bring them home and have nowhere to put them. I don't really spend any time planning any of these images, so this is a lot of free-form drawing. I start with a warm sandy palette with a few accent neutral blues. I find water very calming and have spent quite a bit of time staring out at the ocean for inspiration for other projects. Even though this is a digital painting, I am building up my layers similarly to how I would with watercolor, beginning with the shadows of the waves over the sand and then gradually working my way upwards to the water. And I suspect mermaids would look for colorful shells too. A few accent glints of light on the surface of the water, and this print is done. I have a few variations of the color available in my shop as fabric and home decor. If you have any suggestions for a print for tomorrow, please comment and let me know. Drawing a new print every day, day 4. Alice in Wonderland is one of my favorite storybooks. It's deceptively dense, witty, and fun if you've never read it. In chapter 8, The Queen's Croquet Ground, the line goes, "A large rose tree stood near the entrance of the garden. The roses growing on it were white, but there were 3 gardeners at it, busily painting them red. Alice thought this a very curious thing, and she went nearer to watch them, and just as she came up to them, she heard one of them say, 'Look out now, 5! Don't go splashing paint over me like that!' 'I couldn't help it,' said 5 in a sulky tone. 7 jogged my elbow, on which 7 looked up and said, 'That's right, 5. Always lay the blame on others.' Even drawing this on my tablet, it does feel like I'm pixel painting these roses red. You can see that it doesn't take a lot of extra definition to define a blob into a rose just by drawing a few petals. If I were painting my own roses, I would probably use blue paint. And the pattern is finished, now available in my shop as fabric and home decor. I am drawing a new pattern every day and taking suggestions across my social media channels, so if you have an idea, please comment and let me know. I'm drawing a print a day, day 5. Deep Fried Mentos on YouTube requested birds. Okay, let's do some birds. So I know it's still August and we haven't yet entered spooky season, technically, but I know you feel it in the air. It's starting to pop up in the stores. And I just binged watched the whole first half of the new season of Wednesday, and something creepy is definitely going on with those birds. I'm not exactly sure if they're ravens or crows. Does anyone know? I just assumed that they're ravens. So for this print, we're going to make a couple custom raven silhouette brushes. One comment mentioned that I was using too much color, so I'm going to try very hard to limit myself to a more solemn Tim Burton-like palette, which in my brain is some form of black, gray, and purple. I'm going to loosely block in a couple of scraggly willow trees billowing in the wind, and then use my custom brushes to block in a bunch of ravens. ravens. Apparently a group of ravens together is known as a conspiracy or an unkindness. Sounds a little harsh. And the final print is now available in my shop as fabric and home decor. I'm drawing a new print every day, so if you have an idea, drop a comment and let me know. I'm drawing a new print every day, day 6. And coming from YouTube, Christy has requested forget-me-nots. And for this print, I'm going to begin by creating a custom forget-me-not brush. This delicate little flower is known for its vibrant blue color, rather rare in the plant world. The shape of the bloom also has 5 evenly sized petals. If you're not familiar with the work of Cicely Mary Barker, I highly recommend her Flower Fairy books. She created an original character fairy for a whole bunch of different flowers, and then she wrote a poem for each one. And the poem for the forget-me-not fairy goes like this: so small, so blue, in grassy places, my flowers raise their tiny faces. By streams my bigger sisters grow, and smile in gardens in a row. I've never seen a garden plot, but though I'm small, forget me not. Each flower also has a bright yellow orangey center, and then I add a couple select warm highlights to show where the sunlight is hitting, and then this print is finished. I hope you enjoyed the process. This pattern is now available in my store as fabric and home decor. I'm drawing a new print every day. Drop a comment of what you would like me to draw next. Drawing a new print every day, day 7. Soulspill on YouTube has requested forsythias. Let's start by making a custom brush. I am quite familiar with the forsythia bush. We had them growing up in my yard. In the winter, they look like this bare, sad collection of twigs, and then when they finally bloom, it's this massive firework of pure yellow. I was looking up images of the plant just before I started this drawing, and I didn't realize that they have very, very few leaves on them. And like most shrubs, if you do not prune them back every year, they become very unruly and huge. But apparently you can propagate them from a branch alone, so if you know someone who has them in their yard and you would like a plant, you could ask them for a branch. Like most of my paintings, I start by laying down shadows first, and then working my way up towards the lighter, brighter layers. The stamp brush comes in extremely handy when doing all of these individual flowers. I also finally decided to make a custom sparkle brush. A few final accents of light with that brush, and with that, the print is finished. It is available now in my store as fabric and home decor. If you have a suggestion for tomorrow's drawing, please comment and let me know. I'm drawing a new print every day. Day 8. Fonsteria on YouTube requested Lily of the Valley. A couple people actually requested this flower, and it is one of my absolute favorites, and I'm sure I will draw it many, many times. If you are not familiar with this plant, it is very common in shaded woodland areas. It has delicate little white bells, and it is extremely poisonous, which is really a shame because it has the most sublime aroma. I made 2 custom brushes for this print, one of the leaves and another of the bell. It's fun to draw each curly winding stem. It took quite a bit of trial and error to get the flower brush to behave the way that I wanted it to, but I found it both relaxing and therapeutic to see the little bells appearing on the stems as I drew across. And as usual, I finished off the print with a little glimmer of sunlight. There are so many whimsical and imaginative ways that you can finish off plant drawings. As I was finishing this print, I was already thinking of other ways I could draw Lily of the Valley. Would you be interested in this brush set if I offered it for sale? And with that, the print is complete, now available in my store as fabric and home decor. I'm drawing a new print every day, so if you have a new suggestion, please comment and let me know. Drawing a new print every day, day 9. Kintsugi-san on YouTube has requested Bleeding Hearts. If you're not familiar with this plant, it is a small shrub with tendril-like branches, and the shape of the flower is a rather recognizable heart. I think it's a rather unique shape in the plant kingdom, and I can't think of any other plants that look quite like this one. When I was a kid, we planted one in our backyard in memory of my late grandmother that I never met, so this flower always makes me think of her. I decided to pick a moonlight palette for the colors of this print. The flower is a soft pink color, and I could very easily do a complementary palette of green and pink, but instead I'm gonna hang nearby on the color wheel and stick to pink, purple, and blue. I typically make 2 custom brushes, the flower shape and the leaf shape. You can't actually see this, but where my phone is set up, I'm actually drawing with my arm because I can't bring my face too close to the screen. So a lot of these fluid movements that you're seeing are actually coming from my shoulder rather than my wrist. And our Bleeding Hearts and Moonlight print is finished, now available in my shop as fabric and home decor. If you have an idea for tomorrow's print, please comment and let me know. Drawing a print every day. Day 10. Raven Shepherd on TikTok has requested blueberries. As usual, I will start by making 2 custom blueberry-shaped brushes. I'm giving myself a pat on the back for making it to day 10, and as a thank you for all of those who have watched my videos over the past 10 days, I am going to do a giveaway for a pillowcase in any print of your choosing. Details on how to win it at the end. My blueberry bush is going to be rather stylized and a little bit chic. I'm going to block in a very organic and almost retro flower looking shape. When I went to some reference photos online, I noticed that the blueberry bushes tend to actually have a bit of red in them, so I'm going to use my custom vine brush to block in some leaves in both green and red. And now my blueberry brushes come in extremely handy to very quickly block in placement for a whole bunch of delicious blueberries. And then we top it off with a glimmer of enchanted forest light and even bring in a couple of fairies. I'm drawing a new print every day. Let me know what you would like to see tomorrow. To win the signed pillowcase in your favorite print, you're going to go to the full-length video on my channel, subscribe, and then comment your Instagram name and your favorite print to enter. Good luck!